Morning. I hope you're having a good day. It looks like it's going to be a interesting day anyway today. Yesterday, I got a message on our Discord from Tiki Hut Dweller. Don't ask. I don't know. That was at about 3:37, and basically, the message said that the Fed was going to end quantitative tightening as of December the 1st, and it would have some loosening up or freeing up of funds for the stock market. Well, I'm not a Fed watcher, and so I didn't have a full understanding of exactly what this meant and what the ramifications might be for my portfolio. So did what I always do, and that was ask Samantha. I took the question that Tiki Hut Dweller proposed, and I basically said, Samantha, explain this to me and tell me, based on your knowledge of our portfolio, what you think the net effect might be for the month of December. And she came back and basically said that what it is that I think she said since June of 2022, the Fed have had, since 2019, had a policy under which when treasuries matured, that money was put in a safe rather than put back into the market. And the reason they were doing this is to limit the supply of money, because the opinion was as more money is available, there is more bidding for products and services, and the bidding pushes the price up, which then creates inflation. So if you limit the amount of money available, you limit the number of purchasers, and so the price stays down, and that controls inflation. And I understand that. That makes total sense to me. So what they have said is that policy is over as of December the 1st. So that money now comes back into the system so that um, purchasers can borrow it, can have access to it, and can bid up prices. Now, in the stock market, that means there is more money chasing good stocks, and it will result in prices going higher. Um, what I then said, okay, is go back historically prior to 2019 and tell me, when something like this happens, what I might expect from the Dow, the S&P 500, and the Nasdaqs, based on past history and knowledge of where we are today and where we have been since this policy was enacted in 2019. And what Samantha basically came back and said is that, first of all, she said the year to date, um, the S&P is up 16.45%. The Dow is up 12.55. The Nasdaq is up 21.46, and your portfolio, the bus portfolio, is up 70%. Now, what she then said is, based on the information I have in projections, she would project that the S&P 500 in December will go somewhere around up around 3% added on to where it is now, which would push it pretty close to 20% for the year. That the Dow would go up somewhere between 2 and 5. So on top of the 12.5, that would be about 15 for the year. And the NASDAQ would go up between 5 and 8. Let's round that up to 7. That would put the NASDAQ up somewhere in the neighborhood of 28% for the year end of December. Now, My portfolio, or the bus portfolio, I watch on a daily basis, and I measure it against the QQQs, or the NASDAQ market, and it functions at a multiple of somewhere between 2.5 and 3. So if the QQQs are up 1%, my portfolio will be up 2.5 to 3%. Now, the same is true if the NASDAQ is down 3% or 1%, my portfolio will be down something in excess of that. Usually it isn't a 3 multiple, but it's more than that. But in a overall up performing market, I do quite well. As I said, the NASDAQ is up 21.46. I'm up 70% on the bus portfolio. So that's what I'm seeing and learned from the Tiki Hut dweller, and then with the input from Samantha as well. So that gives us some reading as to what we might expect in the coming months. Because again, we're dealing with a market that is trying to figure out exactly what is artificial intelligence. And again, I don't like the word artificial intelligence. I would rather use the words all intelligence. And the where how is that going to work? Is this demand real? Is this something that will fade away? And again, I will come back to the use of the word bubble, and the comparison to the dot-com bubble. I don't think there is any relevance whatsoever there, because of who is building out the infrastructure. The dot-com, the internet, was built by the federal government. It was built for the use by the Defense Department and the educational system. There was no foresight that someone would put Kmart out of business, and Montgomery Ward's and Sears Roebuck, and create an online buying and purchasing system called Amazon. They didn't foresee that. In fact, it didn't happen, and that's why there was the bubble. Once the build out was over, okay, now what do we do with this thing? How do we monetize it? And it took years to figure out how to monetize it. Whereas in this change, and that's truly what you have to focus on if you want to make money in the stock market, is where is the change happening? This change is financed by 4 or 5 companies because they know how they're going to monetize it. But in the interim, until it's done and they can monetize it, until Mark and others can put those glasses on my face so that Samantha travels with me everywhere I go, and I have access to all the knowledge in the world anywhere I go, not just in front of my computer. Um, Once that happens, the world will change. I made this statement that 10 years from now, we'll look back and say, how did we function? How, how did we move through this complicated maze of people and data and information and compute without all the intelligence in the world? Not AI, not artificial, because it's real. It's not artificial, it's real. And you will absorb it as real. And again, I just look at my life and my investment world, compared to 8 months ago. 8 months ago, if I had walked into the supermarket and the cashier said to me, "Well, you realize that the Fed has pulled back its quantitative um, uh, tightening policy, and money will become freer. So you probably need to expect that cereal to cost more next month. If she had said that to me 6 months ago, I said, "What the hell are you talking about?" But now, um, when Kiki Hut said it, I just went and asked Samantha, and she gave me the response. Um, so uh, that here I just see ACMP player tells me help me go from what is that 13,000 to 66,000. Hey, I'm good for you. You know, that reminds me, ACMP or prayer from Colombia. Someone said to me on a comment, why why are you charging people $60 a month for this? Why aren't you just giving it away free? And I would ask him why doesn't Wharton School of Business let me in for free, or Harvard? Why do they charge such an outrageous amount? 85,000, I think one of you told me, for education. Why do they do that? Why don't they make it for free? Because there's a cost involved in putting it together. And you can't deny the provider of information from recouping his costs. And if he spends his time paying him for his time, I'm sorry. If you think that way, you've just had too many free lunches. You don't recognize that to succeed in this world, you've got to put some effort forward. It isn't spoon fed to you by your mother just because she loves you. No, you got to put some effort forward, and that means maybe you need to pay $60 a month for good information so that you can make good decisions. If in fact you're looking for a free lunch, unsubscribe, go somewhere else, because I'm not going to give you a free lunch, but I'm also not going to charge you 1.9% of your portfolio to help you manage it. I'm not going to do that. I'm what I'm sharing, I believe, is what Wall Street has kept close to their chest for years. And that's why they live in tall glass buildings in downtown New York City and get to and from their estates to their tall glass buildings in Learjets and helicopters. And you drive a Chevrolet, a 1957 Chevrolet. That's the difference. Um, so, with that said, there's some interesting things happening on the market today. I've made a few purchases this morning. So, if you're a part of the tribe, go to the Discord and see what I've done. There's some opportunities out there because the world, you need to know this, the world doesn't know what's happening. So, like on that book back there, the future is faster than you think. That sums it up. And that book was written about 3 years ago. And they and it would be it's interesting. Maybe it was 5 years ago. I don't remember when I read that book. I don't remember them ever using the words AI, artificial intelligence. Then let me just look and see. Uh, when it was written, I don't think they used the word artificial intelligence in it. January of 2020, so it was almost 6 years ago, and as you can see, I thought quite a bit of it because I put a lot of reference tags on it. Uh, I don't think they mentioned artificial intelligence, and that was what 6 years less than a little over 6 years ago. Okay, that's what I'm thinking about this morning. Um, I've got another video planned that I'll put out tomorrow morning, and my hope is to keep you up to speed. And ACMP, that looks like you 13 to 66. That looks like what, four? Yeah, 4.5. That's damn good. You're doing better than me. Um, I hope we can do that again. And I think we can because the world has no clue. I mean, just go to your coffee shop and sit down with your buddies and tell them about Mark Zuckerberg's glasses and Samantha and how they will be able to go out, walk around their car, and Samantha will go find what the price is. She'll even smell the exhaust to know exactly what your car is worth, and then go find you a replacement, and negotiate with the dealership's AI agents and have the car delivered to you. How I was laughing. Some of you recognize that, or I mentioned that yesterday I went to a dermatologist. Was it yesterday? And two beautiful women. One of them, beautiful. My God, she was gorgeous. She was in her 60s, and wore glasses and her eyes were big, and she just directly, and then standing over here checking the other side of my body was about a 25-year old. I told my wife I haven't had that many women interested in my body in ages. So it was a good day. Okay, you have a good day, and learn. Just educate yourself and grab all this knowledge as quickly as you can, and that's going to make you a one percenter. It truly is. 1% of the people in this world have the majority of the money, and what we're trying to do is become members of that club, and I think we've figured it out. Okay, you have a good day. I'm going to go make some money.